Greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Wasim Muhammad Show. Now, I'm very excited to broadcast to you here on the Camden Local City School Board channel. And as always, I am truly humbled and grateful for the opportunity to serve. I want to thank our mayor of this wonderful city, Mayor Dana Red, and her staff, particularly Ms. Novella Starks Henson. And I want to thank the superintendent of Camden City Schools, Mr. Payman Rahanaford, and the Board of Education that I sit as a member on, starting with our president, Ms. Catherine Blackshear, and Vice President, Ms. Martha Wilson. I thank those wonderful people for allowing me this opportunity to serve the community and broadcast to you. But as always, I'm very excited about every show that I have, but I'm just a little touched by this show because this is someone who I kind of grew up with, who I may be a little older to, but he's a personal hero of mine and a friend and a gentleman, and we got so much to talk about. My brother and friend, Brother Victor Carstarphen.
No,
Greetings,
man,
brother.
It's an honor.
Brother, it's good to see you, brother.
It's great to be here.
I'm so excited, man, about this particular show. As we can say, I can't say my backcourt partner, I say backcourt partner. My friend and just a great guy, man, come from a great roots, great family. We got a lot to talk about in this segment of the Wasim Muhammad Show. I cannot be so much honored and humbled by your president. Thank you for coming.
No, it's an honor to be here, man. We have some good memories.
Yes, sir.
Some good memories and some good times, and it's good to see you, the things you're doing in our community.
Yes, sir.
And it gives me a sense of pride.
Yes, sir.
And it gives me the continued ambition to help the kids and do the things that I'm trying to do over at the school now. So
yes, sir.
I'm proud and appreciate being here.
Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. I just want to just bring the community up on who you are. I mean, as anybody who, they must have been asleep under a rock if they don't know who Victor Carstarphen is when it comes to being one of Clarence Turner's burners and one of the elite of Camden High School basketball, who is now the assistant coach at Camden High School here in Camden, and the young men are doing such a fine job, and we know they're getting mentored well by all the staff that's there, including Assemblyman Arthur Barkley, who's doing a wonderful job with them too as well, and of course Coach Valora as well too, doing a wonderful job, and the rest of the staff. But I'm just humbled to sit here with a guy who I think you probably the only one that can say that you played in 4 championships at Camden High School.
Yeah,
I mean, brother, that's amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment, especially during the times of South Jersey basketball when it was tough.
Yes, it's humbling. You hear the word being humbled. Previous guest, Mr. Kwai, and it is. You don't think about those accomplishments at the time. Everything you're doing is based on pride. Is based on the people, the players, the student athletes just come before you. The Camden High rich tradition who played for Coach Turner. You have a sense of pride of wanting to not let the community, not let the school down, and work your behind off to be prepared for those moments. 20, 25 years later, you get people still, you talk about that. And you look back and say, wow, at the time you're not thinking like that.
Yes, sir.
You're just thinking about your preparation, you're thinking about trying to be your leaders out in the court, trying to set good examples, in the community, in the school, and that tradition and that era was based on that.
Yes, sir.
Giving the respect and to the teachers, adults, and that's what we're trying to pass on now.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Assemblyman Barkley and the leadership we have over there. We're trying to, present that to the kids, just to learning how to respect, being good listeners.
Yes, sir.
You find a lot of young folk want to be so quick to have answers.
Yes, sir.
And nobody wants to listen.
Yes, sir.
So just trying to get that back, those attributes
yes,
back and helping. So
yes,
it's humbling. And like I said, we've had some good memories. You and I, you mentioned something earlier about us, taking pride and going extra to be who we wanted to be, catching the train over to Philadelphia,
yes, sir.
to play in the Sunny Hill
Yes, sir.
trying to prepare ourselves against
Correct.
the tough competition.
Correct.
To accomplish what we accomplished in 1986.
And now today you have, parents, and I know it's a change of time and change of season. Things aren't the same, but parents, as we say, the soccer mom or the basketball mom, they take their children everywhere. Hey, we had to get on the train. We had to catch the L. We had to do so much. I'll never forget my father when Whitman Park Little League football team was the team to play for in Camden. And I came there, and Frank Philippe, who was a great guy, he came to me, he said, looked at me, they called me Little Walker, and he said, "You too small, man, to play for Whitman Park." So I had to go out and play for Centerville, play for Mr. Bird, and Coach Pat, and all those guys. And my father drove me there one time to the Pink Elephant, to that park there, and said, "Now, here's how you walk home." Okay, and of course, during that era of Camden. So I relate that to you and I sometimes when we couldn't get a ride over Philly, playing in the Sunny Hill Basketball League, because you are a Sunny Hill All-Star as well. And I tell some people I'm a Sunny Hill All-Star too. Yes, but we got so much to talk about with the roots of your family, the Carstarphen family, your father, who the theme of this song was written by the late great your father, who was your senior, Victor Carstarphen, who wrote that wonderful song, "Wake Up, Everybody." And I bring that song on just to take to the Camden community, come on, let's wake up. And let's be inspired, as your father was inspired to write that particular song. I know we got so much to go into, but let's get started wherever you want to go at, what you want to share as we document our history here in the city of Camden.
It goes back, it's funny you mentioned that. I am a junior to my father. And he was a really good musician and writer from the city, Centerville section in Camden. Gamble and Huff, Leon Huff's from Centerville. And
correct.
He brought my father right out of high school, and they took him over to Philadelphia as a young writer and gave him an opportunity that, he may not have otherwise had, and he took that and ran with it. And as I got older, my dad's out writing. He wrote "To Wake Up Everybody," "I Always Love My Mama," things like that. So as I'm growing and trying to create my foundation as a young athlete in the city of Camden, my father starts to hear his name again. Yes, sir. And he's saying, "My son's doing what? He's that good." And he said, he said, "Vic Carstarphen, not the musician.
Correct.
The one that plays basketball." So it's
yes, sir.
You bring that up, and I always think about that.
Yes, sir.
It's everything's about foundations, and I think we talk about some of the things we did, and our generation, I call it self-starting. We were self-starters. We didn't need a whole lot of pushing. You need a whole lot of, I got to go get a trainer. I got to go. We were self-starting kids, and we got that from the generation before us.
That's right.
We saw something. We wanted to be something, and we went out and did it.
Yes, sir.
Today's generation, when you talk about the soccer moms, and I said, not a whole lot of self-starting kids. They just really want to say, "I want to do this. I want to go outside and dribble the ball 100 times with my left hand, 100 times with my right hand. We don't go to courts and play. I want to go." We had that, and that's following, you guys. I'm a couple years behind you, watching you and the great Louis Banks.
Correct.
Gave me, that ambition to want to, to do my best. I couldn't let you guys down. I couldn't let what you were doing. I had to follow suit and, work hard to be the best that I could be and make you guys proud.
Yes, sir. Because as a freshman, you were sixth man on the varsity squad, and arguably some say you probably could have started and maybe should have started. But you did some wonderful things. When I was over Camden High School, we heard about this. Hey man, there's this kid back in Hatch. Two guys, it was you and Denny. I got to mention Denny Brown, my man. He really can see. That's like Batman and Robin. Can't say one without the other. And they were saying, you got to see these kids, man, over at Hatch, man. They really putting the ball up. And I remember going to one of your games with Coach Hall, and I went back to see with Coach Hall there. And man, you guys were putting the ball in the hoop. And I said, man, they're just coming. It's going to keep the legacy coming. It was great to see that.
We wanted to be, we wanted to be good basketball players. We worked at it. As early as 7, 8 years old, Denny Brown, myself, and went to John Chaney, who became my college coach at Temple University. Went to his camp at an early age. And again, he created the foundation of how we create those building blocks to be a good basketball player. And we followed that. Coming back home in Camden, everybody played basketball. We had an opportunity to play with older downtown. Right there in Wiggins basketball court. The older guys would allow me to come on in and play. And I'm a little guy, and that's those building blocks again. And that prepared us for what we thought was like the NBA, Camden High basketball. The late great Clarence Turner, in my eyes at the time, it was nothing bigger than Camden High.
That's right.
And we were just, we were ready. with your leadership, and we'll get into that, man. Your leadership and the older guys was one of the biggest reasons for my success.
Yes, sir.
You know, I didn't have good leadership there. I didn't have guys to really embrace me as a young player, and not as a young player where you ostracized me out. I wouldn't have been the type of athlete that I became there.
Yes, sir. We definitely appreciate you. And we talked about the Carstarphen family. Anybody that grew up in Camden, they knew if you fought one of the Carstarphens, you had to fight 100 more. You know, family, and just a wonderful thing. And that name recognition means everything. Well, there's some great people. You know, they all wasn't like that. We just looked the clues. It's just a huge family. I know Sister Wasim and Alameen, who's a personal hero of mine. Here in the city of Camden, you know, that family and her children and the wonderful people from that family. And then we kind of knew each other, that old spirit of Camden. And, you know, as a freshman, you were on the sixth man, very impactful. And I remember, never forget I think it was the impacting game that you had when we were playing over at the McGonigal Hall at Temple University, and we were playing the top 4 teams in the country were playing, and there was the likes of Dunbar and Ben Franklin had Pooh Richardson, and then Dobbins Tech had the late great Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball, and all those things highlighted. And you came off the bench lighting it up on that. And I'll never forget, I was trying to break the press by myself. I'll come back to the bench. And I'm point guard. We gotta get somebody out here. They put you in the game, and you just lit it up. And it was great to be a part of that experience, to see such a young player come up and just find himself and get that confidence, because confidence means everything.
It's everything. And again, it was the guys surrounding me. You know, you guys gave me that confidence. I had it, but the seniors and the juniors on that team allowed me to be who I was as a freshman. Yes, sir. And you know, I couldn't let y'all down. Yes, sir. You know, our program had a rich history, and the pride factor always kicked in. This is Camden High. You know, and when you step out on that court, you had to take, you're not just taking the high school, it's a community. That's right. It's a city that you're dealing with. Anywhere around, any place I go around the world, they know, you say Camden, New Jersey. That's right. They know, hey, Camden, man. They say a lot of things, but they'll remember Camden basketball. Correct, that's right. And that was one of the great things of the city. I know you also have a wonderful mother and a wonderful aunt. You know, and the aunt that grew up in the Parkside section, and he's just a great guy. Like I said, visiting you and your family as we would hang around, your mother and your aunt would, you know, feed the whole basketball team. And I happened to just see your album collection. I said, this guy too young to be listening to this kind of music, not knowing that the root there was Victor Carstarphen. Because I would like to say I paid attention to the little things. I just didn't want to know and was happy about the hoopla of who sung the song, and the great artists that sung so many great songs, and we're not taking away from that. I was always that kind of kid. I want to know who produced it, who thought of this kind of information, and to see those wonderful type things. And we got a lot to talk about, and I know we wanted down this segment, but we'll give you the opportunity just to talk about your mother and your aunt, who was so impactful to you in your life. I believe the support system is crucial, you know, and anybody, you know, trying to have endeavors. And some people don't have support systems, and they still fight through adversity and get to where they want to be at life. And I was fortunate enough to have a strong support system. My grandmother, my aunt, my mother, they always was right there on every step of my journey. As from a kid, from an academic standpoint, you know, they stayed on me, not letting this basketball thing get to my head as far as the successes I was having in an early age, and they kept me in line. This is really 3 women, and my father, you know, he was not a sports guy, but, you know, I saw the challenges he went through and the success that he had, and that gave me, you know, the mindset of pushing myself in a different arena to be able to, you know, to get to the heights that, you know, that I've, you know, accomplished in the sport of basketball. And it helped me. It was a tool. I tell kids that, you know, you may not like sports, you may not be into sports, but if you are, you work at it, you're disciplined enough, it's a tool that can allow you to go different places. That's right. And see different things. And the sport of basketball allowed me to, you know, to see a lot in this world. In high school, we had a chance to go to Hawaii. We were a kid from Camden, 11th grade, we go to Hawaii, spend 10 days there. We traveled a lot because of that sport. It offered me a chance to go to college for free. That's right. and get a chance to play on television.
We're going to use that as a moment, and we're going to come back to that as we wind down on this particular segment. And I want you spark something that I think that young people and people need to really hear, that ability to travel and see things and what we can inspire. So as we sit here talking to a great gentleman and a wonderful basketball player, the legendary Victor Carstarphen here, and whichever one you want to say, but we're talking to this one here who inspired me as a young man to do some of the things that I'm doing today. So don't touch the dial. We'll be right back with Victor Carstarphen.
Hello, I am Dania Crisden from Met East High School. Are you a high school student in Camden? Well, it's time to start planning your life after high school graduation. Naviance is a new tool that allows you and your family to explore career options, register for the SAT or ACT, apply for colleges, research scholarships, and request letters of recommendation or copies of your official transcript from your school. All district high school students have a Naviance account. You just need to see your guidance counselor for the login information and get started. Whether you are in 9th grade and want to learn about possible careers, or you are a senior making tough decisions about what to do after graduation, log into Naviance for help planning your future. Go see your guidance counselor and get started today.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Wasim Muhammad Show as I'm sitting here talking to my brother and my friend, Brother Victor Carstarphen, who some might say, and I'm not just saying that because as they say, vanity has its place and might be one of the best backcourts in Camden High School basketball history. I know Milt Wagner and Billy Coberson will have something to say about that. And I know Billy Coberson and Charlie Howe also will have something to say about so many great players from that. But, you know, what do you think about that tantrum of that backcourt partnership that you and I shared?
Yes, man. We were tough, you and I. You had to really beat us.
Yes, sir.
Because we weren't going to beat ourselves.
Yes, sir.
We were both smart on the court. We both could shoot the ball.
Yes,
and
sir.
we could interchange and handle the ball.
Yes, sir.
We were quick. Defensively, we made you play.
Yeah, that's right.
People talk about different teams, the 81 team, Milt Wagner, and I say, we didn't turn the ball over too much.
Yes, sir.
So that's one thing going into the game. We knew we would go, whatever you threw at us,
yes, sir.
we were going to handle,
right.
Wasim and I.
Yes, sir.
And that put us ahead of a lot of people because what we did on the court translated with our team. We were able to do things that translated and made our team go from one level to a high level.
Correct.
You know, you're talking about a time where there's some great teams in the area. Correct. Some great teams around this country. And to accomplish being the #1 team in the whole United States of America,
yes,
you got to put us in the conversation.
Correct.
To compete with any backcourt in the history. We've had some good backcourts
in history.
Camden High,
yes, sir.
Camden High School, but I would take us against. And they know that. They understand that too.
I think it has something to do with the era. You know, every generation is sparked by the superstars in their era. I think the era of Magic Johnson, which brought to basketball the team concept that says the individuality, helped to shape us into what we were trying to become. And the Showtime LA thing with the 5, that basketball was a team sport and that was 5 players there. And so many of these lessons you can learn from life. And I know before we took the break, you talked about, as we was going over to Philadelphia and playing some of the great areas, playing against some of the great players around the country. What do you think was the defining moment for you when you knew that you were pretty good and basketball was what you wanted to do?
My freshman year, I would say the game you mentioned, playing in that platform at McGonigal Hall at Temple University against those teams, Ben Franklin, Dobbins, Dunbar, and to play against Pooh Richardson, who was the guy who played in the NBA, he was the top point guard in the country
at the time,
and to come off the bench in that atmosphere and to do little things that I did that game, score some buckets. And, I think after that, I said, wow, you know, because you always, before you get there, you're saying, believe me, you look at Camden High as an 8th grader going to 9th grade, during that time, it's tough. You're saying to yourself, wow, this is big time. Am I going to play varsity? Will I play by my 10th or 11th grade?
That's all you want.
So you're always pushing yourself.
Yes,
the first is, the first practice trials, it's an anxiety of what I'm going to do. But again, you guys saw something in me that I believed I had, but you guys allowed me and gave me the confidence. And I think that game helped me move along in that season and to prepare me to be a part of what we did the next year.
Correct.
Which was a big accomplishment.
A big accomplishment.
That still stands strong today.
Yeah, and I know we're going to walk up. I'm trying to walk the audience through your high school career because that was, like I said, that was a major accomplishment of playing in 4 championship games. I don't know anybody that can say that. And I think what they did to DeJuan Wagner, you know, he probably would have did the same thing if had not those type of things. But as we talk about quickly, I just want to tell them how when you was an All-American at Temple University, playing with such a greater, on a different, on the highest level, as you can say, in college basketball. And I know I was proud being there in New Mexico, watching you shine there at Temple. And what do you think that you should have made that? I know a lot of people ask that question. You think you should have stayed in the area first because you originally signed and went to Cincinnati, as we talked about, and we cannot not mention during our era, not talk about the great Lewis Banks, who was just an amazing basketball player, and I think the whole Camden can bear witness to that fact. But what do you think that you should have made that choice first to stay home, or do you think you made the right choice and everything fell into place?
Well, it was a lot of dynamics involved with that decision, looking back on it. But with Lewis being at Cincinnati, being a former player with me at Camden High, that gave a little bit of, it gave me a little bit more confidence wanting to go there. I had a good relationship with the head coach. Coach Turner had a good relationship with the head coach. Looking back on it, I built a lot of good relationships locally with John Chaney, the Sunny Hill League. Everything happens for a reason. It was a reason for me to go out there. And the only reason I left is because we went on probation.
Gotcha.
When we went on probation, I had dreams of playing in March Madness, NCAA tournament. That was a dream of mine as a kid, to be a part of that NCAA tournament, and wasn't going to happen there after the probation thing. So it allowed me to make this decision to come back to Temple, which was, I look back at it, and I transferred there, and people were telling me, oh, why you transfer there? They got All-American guard there. They got this there. They got this kid coming in. But I believed in myself. I said, you didn't come from where I came from.
Go ahead.
I come from Camden. That's not bothering me. I'm going in here head first, and I'll show you. I show by my deeds. And my deeds will allow you to see what I'm about.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Went there, and I felt like I had a good career, really good career.
Oh, great career.
Played in 2 Final Eights. Had a chance to play with 8 guys that played in the NBA, and I was right there with him. It's a 3-year starter, and it was a great.
And I know they say Vanity had his place, so you can't say it. I can say it for you that your senior season, which was your 5th year, you were in fact an All-American point guard, and some arguably say that you should have been on first team. You were second team. When we knew first team was Bobby Hurley. And as we were talking about the last week's show, as I talked about. With Dwight Muhammad Kwawi, the heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion, formerly of Camden, the Camden Barsaw, that is not just sports. That he was talking about Evander Holyfield in that particular fight. That people don't know that sports is sports, but also is the politics of sports too. That's always involved, and I think now that things are highlighted a little more, people can begin to see that. But I have to say for you that arguably you probably should have been on first team. All-American in that particular year, in unfortunate circumstances that more than likely, you talked about playing with those NBA players. If unfortunate circumstances would ever have happened, you would have been one of those NBA players that we talked about that would have been there too, because on my behalf, I think all you had to do was finish the year out. We knew coming into the year that if you was the top point guard in the country, that you definitely wasn't going to turn the ball over, playing for the strict John Chaney at the time. We knew we was going to segue right into that area of what you wanted to be, and that was some great things. I just wanted to say that to you because as the audience, sometimes you may not can say things yourself, others can say it for you.
I appreciate that. Again, it's looking back on it, that was the humbling experience.
Yes, sir. And we never had this conversation, and I know just from growing up with you and playing with you and playing the sports and knowing the politics of basketball, I figured I can say that for you.
Oh yeah. I don't. You know me, Wass. I don't boast about none of that stuff. I feel like you put yourself in position to do things. You do it to your best ability.
Correct.
And I try to tell the kids the same thing that I coach. And I put myself in that position. I just worked hard to try to do the best.
Yes,
that year, you're right. I should have been. I felt like that, but unfortunately, I had a bad injury.
Correct.
That
yes,
year,
sir.
and
Correct.
put me in a position. I was trying to come back quicker than I wanted to, and wasn't the type of player I wanted to be at the end of the year. Still was effective, but I wasn't the type of player.
Just the politics and the timing of it, and that was the only thing that was there, and it was kind of discouraging because I remember we was watching, and it was like, oh man, because we were rooting for you, especially when I was on the West Coast and I just came home, and it was just wonderful to see people because people don't know the bond that we had of being a Turner's Burners, a Camden High basketball player during that era, and it's still today. That bond is still there. You meet guys that you haven't seen in a while. It's just that we see each other there because we played for Camden High School basketball. The same kind of bond that we share with some of the young players and students today. You want to talk a little bit about that bond?
Yeah, it's a sort of a brotherhood that only the ones who've been through those paths understand. And we have a rich tradition that goes back to the 70s that Coach Turner built, and is still carrying on to the day. And you try to impart that with the younger kids because, as the years go by, you tend to forget these kids may not understand who was who, what the history is all about, the pride of wearing the purple and gold. And I'm glad myself, Assemblyman Barclay, we're there, DeJuan Wagner's there, so we consistently tell them and have them understand when they step on that court, it's a pride factor. You have to give it your all.
That's right.
And when we get on you about, taking a lax attitude out there and not playing your hardest, it's a history that you're taking with you on that court. And you have to bring it, an intensity that you couldn't understand. If I told you, you still couldn't understand what that mindset is about. We're just trying to, just again impart that to the kids.
Yes, sir.
Some good kids, man. I'm so happy to be a part of giving back, to the kids at Camden High that it's something I probably should have done years ago, but I'm just happy to be a part of, bringing and giving back.
I know when we look over on the bench and we see the likes of some of the gentlemen that you mentioned, Assemblyman Barkley, DeJuan Wagner, and yourself, I know speaking from a community member, we know that the basketball program is definitely in good hands, that they're going to learn basketball, they're going to learn life lessons, they learn it from some of the guys that played on the highest level of basketball, and it's a great opportunity that you have. And as we're talking about, going back a little bit again to your high school career, you come in as a freshman, impactful, come in sophomore year, #1 high school team in the country. Come back your junior year, you guys win back-to-back champions your junior year, going back-to-back, and it was a wonderful thing. And I remember I was in college, I had to go all the way to Arizona before I made my way to New Mexico. I'm just telling them, man, I'm getting phone calls, them guys playing a game where there's no spectators in the game. You want to talk a little bit about that? I know people, that was very exciting. Playing a game in the gym with no perspective.
That was something that I'll never forget. We were playing Atlantic City. Atlantic City and Camden, fierce rivalries. Again, going back to the early 80s and the 70s. The year before, in 1986, we played them in the Group 4 South Jersey Finals, win the overtime or double overtime. They were talented. We had 4 or 5 Division I players on that team. This year, I guess the communities, there was some talk from our community, their community, and I guess the people that had to make decisions were feeling kind of frantic about if we had this game and the crowds and the cities come together. I guess they felt as though they didn't want to take that chance. So they said, we're going to play this game with no crowd. And I said, a big game like this there's going to be no crowd, just the kids. Like, we need a crowd.
To get you going.
I have to hear you want the high. You got the high. I have to hear that. So we played a game, and none of us knew where we were playing at. The day of that game, as a player, we didn't know where we were going at. They put us just because they didn't want us telling people. So we're driving. We're driving through South Jersey. I'm going past Camden Catholic. and not playing there. We're driving towards another high school.
Yes,
we ride by. They said, well, that's not going to be it.
Yes,
sitting
sir.
there, and we get to Overbrook. And I said, Overbrook?
Yes,
We're about to play this game at Overbrook.
Yes.
Get out. We play. See Atlantic City. It's just us, them, the coaches. It's
Yes,
like a
sir.
scrimmage.
Yeah,
And the level of discipline and the mentality you have to really come out and play like the way you need to play in that type of game with no crowd. You know, the energy you wasn't going to get. You had to come and play. And fortunately, you know, I had a great game, you know, and my teammates, Denny Brown, played well, and we came out, you know, ahead. That was a tough game.
Yeah, some great, what you call them, even with Gerald,
Gerald
Johnson,
Johnson,
yes, sir.
yeah.
And great guys that grew up in the community.
It's a group of people, man, guys I see at games now. We talk and embrace each other, man. We went through some good moments in high school,
yes,
man.
Sir.
Some good moments, some good people.
Yeah.
We had great leadership, man, and we had great leadership in our school, you know, our coaches.
Yeah.
And those things, man, carry along with me with what we try to do with the kids now. So.
Yes, sir.
But that was an interesting moment. You know?
Yes, sir. And boy, the time is running so fast, but we got to close down on this particular segment. But like I said, we got so much talk about. And I'm glad to have you here. Now, this won't be your last time because we have a lot, because you're the current history, and maybe you can bring some of the players with you next time that you come on here. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back, and then we talking a little basketball today. As always, I'm gonna get into Brother Victor Carstarphen's mind towards the end, because as a former student athlete, I know that athletics in life goes hand in hand, and the lessons you learn on the court from your coaches and from your teammates and from the actual experience of travel, that you'll learn those same lessons in life, and they transfer over to life and will make you successful. Don't you touch that dial. Be right back with Victor Carstarphen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shawana Gray with your Health Matters tip for today.
April is Sexually Transmitted Disease Awareness Month. Sexually transmitted diseases include the following: chlamydia, gonorrhea, trichomonas, HPV, genital herpes, HIV, and syphilis. One interesting fact: half of all new STDs occur among young people aged 15 to 24. Some measures of prevention include abstinence, strict condom use, mutual monogamy, vaccinations, and reduced number of sexual partners. Screening includes the following: urine testing, cervical swab testing, vaginal swab testing, serum testing, and routine pap smears. Things to know: most STDs are treatable and many are curable. Many STDs have no signs or symptoms. Knowing your STD status is a critical step in stopping STD transmission. Where to go? CamCare Health Corporation, located at 817 Federal Street, Camden, New Jersey. Contact number 856-541-2229. Planned Parenthood of Southern New Jersey, located at 317 Broadway, Camden, New Jersey. Contact number 856-365-3519. STD Express, located at 808 Market Street, Suite 2A, Camden, New Jersey. Contact number 1-877-859-1474.
I'm Dr. Shawana Gray, and that was your Health Matters tip for today, because your health matters.
And welcome back. We're here at the Wasim Muhammad Show with our brother and friend, Brother Victor Carstarphen. And as we took the break, we was talking a little bit about being a servant and service to the community. And you had a wonderful opportunity. You played for some legendary coaches, you know, legendary Coach Clarence Turner and the legendary John Chaney. I mean, what kind of experience was that to play for two legends? I mean, just black men inspiring not only the players that they played for, but they inspired the whole country, you know?
Two Hall of Fame guys, in
Yes,
their
sir.
perspective, you know, high school and college. And it was, you know, they both was tough. Tough and loud. I will say that. So I got it honest when I went over to Temple.
Yes,
it
sir.
was like, hey, man,
After Coach
this
Turner.
screaming ain't, I can deal with this all day, every day, you know. But
Yes, sir.
again, it's life lessons.
Yes,
you know, you grow up and you make transitions from a teenager. You're growing up to be a man, and Coach Turner gave me a foundation as a young teenager, and Coach Chaney provided me with a whole nother foundation of growing into a man and preparing yourself for life. And You know, using basketball, as we spoke about earlier, in sports particular, and translating with how life is.
Correct.
In sports, you're going to deal with adversities. You know, in sports, things aren't always going to go your way. You got to fight through it. Mental toughness, attitude.
Correct.
Coach Chaney had a thing called winning is an attitude. You know, and life is an attitude. It's how you look at things, the positiveness, and of if something's not going right, how do I fight through it?
Correct.
How do I get around this to keep moving forward and not allow this adversity,
Yes,
not
sir.
allow this turnover on the court,
Yes, sir.
not allow being down by 10,
Correct.
not allow getting knocked down in the ring and having to get back up, and
Correct.
fight through it. Those
Yes, sir.
things.
And, you know,
carry on.
those same things are in the ministry. Now that I'm in the ministry, that you got to teach people, and you're helping by the grace of Almighty God, Allah, to build people's character. And that's an ongoing thing. We never stop that. And it's talk about, I did a series at Muhammad's Temple of talking about disappointment. And you talked about, you know, not letting down, things not going your way, because people are challenged with disappointment, because sometimes disappointment can make you, if you feel disappointment, it can make you make a wrong decision in life, hurt yourself and others. And I want you to keep going on that particular point, those life lessons.
Coach Chaney always said to me, I want to see the same person when the sun is out as it's when it's raining and pouring outside. He said, I don't want you changing because it's raining, it's thundering out.
Yes,
I want you to be the same as you are when it's sun outside. And he always say, on that court, you know, keep the same mentality. You know, if things are going good or bad, you have to keep the same mentality
Yes, sir.
of fighting through and getting where you want to get at and trying to get that goal of winning. And in life, you know, when things are going good, you know, you're all happy. But when
Correct.
it's not going good, you got to keep that mindset.
Yes,
of,
sir.
I'm not going to allow this rain outside to mess with me. I'm not going to allow because it's thundering and lightning. It's going to be
sir.
sunny one day again. I just got to get through this one.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I'm having a bad
Correct,
game.
Correct.
I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep shooting.
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to push through. And it ain't going to
Yes,
be
sir.
like this all the time.
Correct.
So, you know,
Yes, sir.
and that's, you know, those are some of the things that, you know, you take from sports in general and life.
Correct.
And it builds your character.
Yes, sir.
It builds your characters. The kids we deal with now, everybody's dealing with different issues, coming from different areas in the city, and then, you know, it's not as easy as it was when we were growing up. Not that
Correct.
it was easy. Our community, it was some things we had challenges.
Correct.
But it's a little bit more challenges now for our
Correct.
kids.
For sure.
You try to let them know, man, keep pushing forward. You know, just keep the light switch on.
That's right.
You know, don't keep turning it on and off.
Yes, sir.
You know, just keep it on and just
That's right.
you know, have faith.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
because everything's going to be
So
all right.
I know a lot of people wanted me to ask this about when you talk about playing for legendary Coach John Chaney. You know, those early morning practices. I mean, how was that? Did that help to form your discipline in life? Because I know some people just not morning people. You talking about getting up in the morning and practicing. I mean, that had to be challenging.
You know, it's funny, man. It almost had the opposite effect. 4 years we practiced at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
4 years without Saturdays and Sundays. We practice at 7. So you're talking about college kids. We have to get to bed early, which is hard in itself. So much going on.
That's a challenge.
You might get to sleep at 1:30, 2 in the morning. You're trying to discipline yourself.
Yes,
and that
sir.
alarm goes off at 4:45.
Yes,
you
sir.
become so in tune. You're literally, your body just gets up and you're like,
Go ahead,
I got to
yes,
get there. Because I'm not trying to hear this crazy man get on me. I've had players, the anxiety of hearing Coach Chaney just beat on you all morning is not something you want to deal with. I've had players
Yes,
that
sir.
were late for practice, man, go to the Temple University Hospital because they said, I'd rather go to the hospital and say something's wrong than be late because I was overslept.
Yes.
And the coach said, I don't care if you're in the hospital. You better get your behind here.
Yes.
But for 4 years, after that
Yes.
4 years, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to see 5 o'clock in the morning. So it almost had a different reaction. It's now I'm like, I get up at 8 now
Yes,
instead
sir.
of get up at 5. But it was, it disciplined us in a way because, you know, it gave me an opportunity to get my studies in. It gave me an opportunity to really have everything aligned and accountable for my classwork. And I was
Yes,
able
sir.
to get my degree there.
Yes, sir.
At
And
Temple.
that's the wonderful thing that, you know, the city of Camden gave so much to us, because you talk about some of the wonderful fans, and you talk about playing that game without the fans. And I want to have opportunity to say to some of the people that were considered to be quote unquote fans and good fans and how much they inspired us. That's why I still see them today. And that inspires me to do more for Camden and more for the people of Camden, because I may be servicing somebody who just said a good word to me, or say, go get him, Was or Vic. And that form of service to us, and for you to have that kind of stay local and get it again, and with the fans helping you and pushing you to give back to Camden. And now that's what we want to tell the young people and the older people as well too. That's what it's all about. That what Camden gives you, you take it out and you give it to the world, and you recycle that back, and you come right back and you give it back to the same city. And that's why we're so glad to have you here working with our young people here at Camden High School, you know.
You couldn't ask, man, for what I'm doing to help the kids and playing my part with the community, man. It's nothing better than that. It's the give back. It really is. And you try to give that knowledge to the kids, because it's 15 years going to go by, and these same young men we're dealing with are going to have opportunities to do some of the things to give back. Our community is building on the rise. I mean, you know, what you're doing, you playing your part and helping build lives and the character and the positiveness around our community, man. We're moving forward, and our kids need to understand that. And when they look at that community, our kids see our fans and see different people in the stand. You, Mayor, you see different folks that are from the city embracing what they're doing. It means a lot, and I try to tell them that's what you're doing means a lot, and you stand on the positive path means a lot to everyone in this community, man. Because this is, you have no idea how much you're touching folks.
Correct.
To 20 years from now, somebody's gonna look back to you and say, I remember you.
Correct, yes, sir.
I remember you used to, you made me feel I was a little kid. I have guys all the time, 10 years younger than me. I was a little kid, and it just blows me away, because, you know, I wasn't professional or anything, but for something like that to touch someone, it means a lot to hear that.
Correct. Yes, sir. You talked about, I think he was the ultimate professional, you know, those that know. And we talked about disappointment a little bit. I want to go forward again. You know, I want to give you the opportunity to say to our community, because, you know, a lot of people talk, you know, Camden, as we talk about fans, everybody, you're going to have people that like you, people not like you. You know, talk about that when you were on the height of your career and you were right there. And as we know, anybody that knows playing basketball, all you do is finish the season out. You break your ankle. And to talk about that, how did you get up out of that? And you know, the disappointment of that and all that kind of stuff. Talk about it and share with some of the audience what it took for you to get out of that.
At first it was tough. I never had an injury in my life. And you see some things right in front of you that you can kind of grab if everything kind of aligns and goes right. So it was tough, but I didn't have time to really wallow in my sorrows of feeling, you know, sad for myself. I had to try to say, I got to get back. Even if I'm 60%, I want to get back and help this. This was my team. I was the leader of that team. You know, and it
was quite encouraging to see you do that too. I want you to know that. See you get back.
I got back, and I never was 100% after that. But everything happens for a reason. And you know, the sport of basketball allowed me to get into a career right after that, to work with professional athletes and manage athletes for a period of time, a 10, 12-year period of time, to travel, to go places I never thought I would go, travel to different countries, you know, see so many people. And when you're traveling those areas and you have people come up to you and be like, my name is like a unique, funny name, so people don't tend not to forget it. Carstarphen. I'll be like, what is that? Carstarphen, Camden, Temple, wherever I go at. So that was always encouraging to say, man, you know, people remember me, and I'm from Camden. You know, I'm from Camden, New Jersey. You remember this guy from Camden doing some of the things I did. So it was always good. I never let it get me down, my injury. You move forward. You know, God has other plans for you, and you move with it. So.
Yes, sir. And that was great to see that come back and see you do that. And like you said, you were working along with some great people in sports management for some years doing that, staying close to this, because it's hard to get rid of that urge, that sports urge, and not to be around it. And people don't understand how much that affects young people, especially during that age and during that time. And I know we were happy that you were still involved with the sport. I know I used to see you. I said, well, when you going to get into coaching again?
Yeah.
As everybody would say,
Yeah.
when you going to do that,
I
brother?
know,
You going to do
man.
that?
I kind of
'Cause I
ran
knew the
away
kind
from
of
that.
thinker.
Yeah.
Well, you always, the great people tend to run away from things that they're blessed in, because sometimes when you see people run to things, and it has an adverse reaction, especially to that kind of thing, because the person that runs from it and don't want it is usually the person that really need to have it.
Wow.
You know,
That's a good point. Great point.
you know, because that humility is already there.
Yes.
And they're not doing it to be seen of men or seen of people. They're doing it because that's what they're supposed to do.
Great
And they had to take a journey, and they come around, and that's what you're supposed to do. So we're glad and happy to see that you're there. And we talked about that name, that distinctiveness of your name. How important do you think that being the son of Victor Carstarphen, the writer, Philadelphia International Records, do you think that opened up doors for you? Do you think that challenged you, that you think that you wanted to prove that, listen, I can make it on my own, or whatever? Because I know a couple years ago at a Temptations concert, I had the opportunity to take some pictures of you and your, with me,
Yeah, it was a
me
great
you and your
moment.
father and my family. It was a great moment
Yeah.
in time to have that. And I want to talk a little bit of that before we segue into our last segment.
Well, my father he was a humble guy.
Yes, he was.
Unfortunately, passed away last year. But he was a humble man. He never really talked about any of his accomplishments. You would never know that he's written over 100 songs, and people have sampled his music. He just was real quiet guy. So he never gave me that I have to live up to him thing. He was always, he took me studio a couple times as a kid. This is what you want to do. We played the piano.
Yeah, so the picture you got on your Facebook page, sitting down with Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
great
Oh,
Michael,
man.
late
Yeah,
great Michael Jackson.
He wrote a few songs for them, the Jackson 5.
Correct.
And as a Tyler, I had a chance to be around the Jackson, Michael Jackson, and Campbell and Huff and all those guys. So he said, is this something you like? I learned how to play the piano somewhat, but I kind of gravitated towards basketball.
Yes,
no one in my family played basketball.
Yes,
so
sir.
he didn't just push me. He said, what you want to do? He said, do it. Just try to be the best at it.
Yes, sir.
So I never felt pressure. People would say to me, your father, musician. And I said, yeah, man, that was cool. I mean, he never really boasted about it, so I wasn't like, to me it was, as my dad does, he was a genius at what he did. And he was humble about it. He looks back when we talked about it. He said there's some avenues that I probably should have went that I didn't go, even at the height that I was at. So he just try to pass that along. You want to keep pushing forward. Don't settle, and just try to keep giving back. And, he loved growing up in the Centerville section. He talked about that all the way until his last days. That's all he talked about.
The unofficial Mecca of Camden.
Oh man, that's what he loved, and it was more pressure, just the name and how big my family was.
Correct.
My father was a musician.
Correct.
My grandmother had 15 brothers and sisters. I
Yeah.
had so many cousins, it's ridiculous.
Yes, sir.
So that pressure was another pressure.
Yes, sir.
So.
Yeah. And you had that kind of personality where the people loved you in Camden High School. And I remember, some of the people talking to like Nick Perry and those guys, and wonderful guys that we had the opportunity to grow up around. And you had that kind of personality and that they have. And we're going to come back and talk about some of those wonderful things and great memories that we share, and allow you the opportunity to say that to the people. So you ain't gonna go nowhere, right?
No.
So we're gonna tell them not to go nowhere.
There you go.
So we can have that conversation. And once again, as we wind down on this segment of the Wasim Muhammad Show, don't go nowhere. I think you can learn a lot of lessons from some great people, in which we highlighted this show to say that we was gonna tell our story. And as this is Black History Month, sometimes we overlook those people who made history right in front of us, and we want to highlight that great history to us. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Myth. Lightning never strikes the same spot twice. Fact. It strikes the Empire State Building about 25 times a year. Myth. Bats are blind. Fact. They see as well as you and I. Myth. Sending goods is the best aid to disaster victims. Fact. Cash is best. After shipping, a case of water costs about $196. That can buy 10 gallons of water. Cash sent is help received. You have a big heart. Use it for smart compassion.
And welcome back as we wind down on this last segment of the Wasim Muhammad Show. I'm sitting here with my friend and a personal hero of mine, that I must say that keeps me inspired and kept me inspired as a young man growing up in Camden, being across the country and watching people shine and talking to us, man, yeah, from Camden, that's my backcourt partner, and different things like that, to see them shine at Temple University. And it's great to be back and have this wonderful conversation with this gentleman. And Vic, I wanted to say to you as well, you know, you have a candid personality, and your personality precedes you. You know, everybody always knew you've been a great kid. You know, we felt the need when we come to Camden High School. We knew, and this was the Camden we grew up in. And when you weren't a part of nothing, if you wasn't a thug, that they wouldn't let you hang. If you had potential, they wouldn't let you hang around those guys. You could do that. We was around them. We could be around them. But when they knew they was going to do their thuggery, they said, "Man, get out of here. You better get out of here." That kind of protection. And you know, you want to talk a little bit about that, because I got some questions, basketball questions, that people text me and say, "You have Vic? Well, you got to ask him these questions." You know. Okay.
There's no doubt about it, man. Again, that goes back to the foundations, man. The community. It was a lot of guys older or our peers that went into some other things that they wouldn't allow us to get into. You're right. I heard it too many times. Right?
Yes,
if someone saw me going the wrong direction,
yes,
them jokers would quickly to pull me back, be like, "Yo, man,
yes,
you better get out there in that court.
That's right.
You need some extra dollars. You ain't gonna be out here doing this.
Yes, sir.
You gonna, I make sure you're okay. You need to stay on the right path." And that was the respect, man. That, you know, I don't know how it is with the kids today, but when we were growing up, our peers, our community, they saw the positiveness. When they saw that, they wanted to push that positiveness to make it grow and shine.
Yes,
and I appreciate it. It's too many names to say.
Yes,
of individuals that were a part of us to help us move forward inch by inch, giving us the confidence to keep moving forward and not feel as though we can get off the wrong path, get off this path and go right.
Yes, sir.
Just to stay
correct.
straight.
Like, you know, you talked about some people I've interviewed. The latest sheriff here, Sheriff Gilbert Whip Wilson, and being around the basketball program, the Henson family, Mr. Teddy Henson and his sons and his wife, Mr. Vella, and those great people that put their arms around the community to help to inspire what we were doing. The police department of the city of Camden was inspirational with us. The superintendent then, Dr. Webster, who would show up at every game. And it just ask you some compelling questions now before we talk about some personal things I want to talk about with you. Okay, your greatest top 3 teams of Camden High School. What do you think? What did you say?
Oh, 86.
Yes.
Our team. 81 was a really good team.
Yes, sir.
Jeez, it's just so many.
Yes,
that 84 team with Kevin.
Correct. Yes, sir.
We had some 70s teams, but
yes, sir.
You know, my 88 team was a really talented team. My
really
senior year.
Correct.
But those 3 probably, when you're talking about 2 undefeated teams, an 81 team with Milt Wagner, Billy Thompson. You know, there were some talented, exciting, intelligent teams.
Yes, sir.
You know, we played with our hearts in our minds.
Correct.
And that together, you're powerful. When you're playing with your heart and your mind.
Correct.
Those teams were powerful.
That thing were powerful. And you played with some great players, and to highlight for some of our young people who may not know, and remind some of the people who are here watching the show that remember that. Because sometimes, you know, say senility slips in when we get older. And some of the great players you played with at Temple, at University.
I had a chance to play with, again, 8 players who went to the NBA. A guy named Mark Macon, who played in NBA for 7 years.
Yes.
He was All-American, first-round pick. Eddie Jones.
Correct.
Played with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
Was an NBA All-Star 3 times. Aaron McKee, who's the assistant coach for the Sixers, now assistant coach at Temple.
Correct.
He was a 6th man of the year, played in the team with Allen Iverson, the NBA championship against the Lakers. Mark Strickland, NBA. Donald Hodge played in NBA. 7-footer. Dwayne Caldwell played in NBA.
Correct. Yes.
It was some talented players. I had a chance. Nate Blackwell was my assistant coach.
Correct.
Incredible.
You didn't play with Tim Perry, did you?
I didn't play with Tim Perry.
Correct. He was a little before. Correct.
Tim was right before me.
Correct.
But, again, you don't know it at the time. You don't know. You don't know much at the time of doing anything until you reflect.
Yes.
Especially when you're young. You're just out there doing what you want to do, what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
When you reflect on it, you say, "Wow."
Yes,
that Camden High team was a very talented and strong unit. 86, strong unit.
Yes, sir.
The strongest unit competitively that I ever played with, college or high school. That team was a team. You know? I've had some good teams at Temple, but there was no unit.
Correct.
Like
yeah.
your senior year, my sophomore year.
Yes,
That was the unit. That was
Yes, sir.
like, you're
Correct.
talking about the old Celtics and old them.
Correct.
We
yeah,
were a
yeah.
machine, a unit played together.
We knew from behind us. So I remember just yelling to you, Vic, turn him. That's all. That was the defense that turned him. And
we were on the same page.
Same page.
We were on the same page.
It was great. And as you said earlier, because we both were point guards, and we both could shoot the ball pretty well, and headstrong, and had the hearts of lions. And I think that was very important that we try to carry. And I try to tell the young people when I'm trying to inspire to them that I was always a giver, and I always wanted to give more than I wanted to receive. And I just to be there to watch your career grow was a wonderful thing. And you want to talk about some of the things that you see going on in Camden today. Just gives you an opportunity, because I know your sports career was great, but sometimes people need to hear from you, because through all that experience, all that travel, all that playing on that world stage, all that adversity, going through all of those type of things, it helped produce the humankind and man that you are today. And that, what I think the community, we need to share that with them. Just to talk about some of the things that you see, the directions you see Camden going in now.
Very positive direction. And I see everybody on the same page.
Gotcha.
You know, when you start to become on the same page, different leaders, different people, that helps build and promotes forwardness, and that promotes positiveness. And what I'm seeing is, you know, I think just because this person has this going on that's helping one part, and that person's doing this that's helping one part, I think everybody's on the same page of what we're trying to do for a city. That's what I'm seeing.
Ooh, go ahead.
You know, from an education standpoint, I see our superintendent. You know, I think he's
great guy.
I think he's really passionate about what's going on in our city.
Yes,
I see our mayor, who I know, you know, passionate about what's going on in our city. I see you, who I know very personal. You're passionate about what's going on in our city. So that promotes, again, the positive, and it filters down. And the big thing that I see is that filtering starts to filter into our youth.
Go ahead.
Because that's where the basis of where the city goes is.
Go ahead.
The changing of the youth mindset.
Go ahead. Come on.
So that mentality starts to build, and I see it in our school, the leadership in our school for our kids. It's moving fast, quick, and in the right direction. And,
yes, sir.
And when that filters down, this youth 10, 15 years from now, they're going to be the ones that it continues to take us, the city, into the level where it should be at.
Yes, sir. And I think you couldn't have said that better. And this is why I know, being a former student athlete, you know, just to have that conversation, I always try in the last segment of any show, if I'm talking to an athlete, I know that it's more that we can give, and that we can give, and that you are giving. And being a family man now, you just got married a few years ago, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
and yes, sir.
Lovely wife, Margie.
Yes, sir. and just doing your thing, man. I just, you know, I never forget. I just want to tell you, you never knew this, how much you inspired me, even in what I'm doing now. Even outside the court, I remember seeing you one day, and we saw each other. We haven't seen each other in a while. He said, "Man, I'm hearing some great things about you, man. I don't know what it is you're doing, but keep doing it." And those things, just a kind word, and it's encouraging. I want to thank you for that, for that opportunity to do that.
There ain't no doubt about it, man. You know, it's inspiring to hear you say that, because again, we feed off of each other.
That's right.
Just like
as we always did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And your energies that you're giving, you have no idea how that provides my energies. The times where, you know, when you're giving them to yourself for the community, people understand it takes a lot out you. So you have to consistently, you know, motivate yourself to continue to provide that energy, man. It's not easy on every level. It's all relative. Correct. What I'm doing is relative. You know, somebody else doing this, but the energies you have to be. You got to say, I got to come on. I've got to continue to push forward.
Science and mathematics, how everything is, and we're taught, and that's why we don't have the opportunity or the time for negativity, you know, and to beat people down, beat each other down, because that's what our young people see. And I'm so glad you mentioned that about that continuity that you see, that it filters. And I think you put it in layman's, in plain terms. And sometimes we may get too philosophical and a little too spiritual, whatever the case may be, as you can never get that. But you put it in that term, and that cohesiveness, I think, that we shared on the court, that you're starting to see in the city now. And, you know, as we wind down, is there anything else that you would like to say, that you haven't had the opportunity to say, now that you have this stage to talk to a lot of people. I know a lot of people take to you when they see you because you have that personality. But this time you get an opportunity to say it to a lot of people that you would like to just give from your heart to the city of Camden.
I've always appreciated the love, you know, the passion from everyone from the city. And, you know, I don't get a chance to say that to each and everybody, but I appreciate it with all my heart, the love that was given to me. And that's why I try to give it back. And one thing for the youth, I always wanted to give to them is to say, always try to be a good listener. Be a better listener. You be a good listener, you're going to always be able to hear, understand, and you'll be able to make good decisions. And I tell the young kids all the time, but you know, the city's been good for me, and that's why I get up every day after work and I get down there and to play my part with helping them young kids in the basketball team. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what you're doing, and I keep doing what you're doing because again, it allows individuals like myself to keep wanting to do more to help. You can never have too many people not wanting to do more. So.
Correct. There's a room for all of us.
There's a room for all of us.
Before I go out, I thought about something when you were talking. You know, a lot of people don't know. I want to just send a special shout out to Billy Coberson, who a lot of people don't know that year, '86, when we were #1 team in the school, in the country, how Billy Coberson would play knockouts at the end of every practice.
Toughened us up. Toughened us up.
And Billy Coberson just came from playing for Pitt at the on the Big East, when the Big East was probably the strongest that has ever been in any conference in history of college basketball. And he had played a year or two in Argentina, professional basketball. And every day at the end of practice, we took that sometime more serious in practice than those knockouts that we played, you and him and I can't thank him enough for that.
I'm going to look in the camera and say, thank you, Billy Coberson, for that give back. That give back toughened this gentleman and myself up to the point where we went undefeated.
Yes, sir.
And you can never take that away from what we did. And
yes, sir.
Billy Coberson said, you're right. The butt whippings and them tough days provided a lot of, we got more from that than anybody we could ever play in New Jersey.
Yes, sir. And I just want somebody else to bear witness to that, because that was more serious than actually practicing a game, trying to losing at knockouts and trying to win and plan and sharpening your skills and to give back today.
There was so much of that. Not him, Dockley, guys coming back and just
Dockley,
coming back and helping us, just pushing us, man. That made us tough.
Correct.
My whole 4 years, those situations prepared us.
Yes, sir.
When we were in South Jersey, it was like,
yes,
we're playing against these high school teams. It was nothing.
Yes, sir.
You know, I tell people my 3 years from you to senior, I said, we didn't lose in South Jersey.
Yes, sir.
We just never lost.
That's right. It was unheard of. And you talked about, as you was talking earlier about playing your freshman year. I never forget my freshman year that I was brought up on varsity to face Muggsy Bogues when I was playing Dunbar. We got snowed out, and as the rumors say, some people say that's the best thing that ever happened to you in your career, because you know confidence is everything.
It could have took you in a whole other direction.
Vic, it's always a pleasure.
Man, this has been wonderful.
It's been wonderful. We got to have you back again.
That's no problem.
You know, because there's so much we can talk about and inspire our kids.
Man. This has been a blessing. It's been great. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There it is, and we have there my friend and my brother, and this is why I wanted to have that conversation with you, because conversations him and I have, we wanted to share it with the world. We wanted to share it particularly with Camden, the city that gave so much to us, and for my backcourt partner and his backcourt partner, because you know we shared it, I think, equally. We inspired each other, and that's what teamwork can do in the city. And you hear him talk about that cohesiveness, that the city is having that energy or that synergy. We're asking you to have that same energy and synergy today. And coming from the late, great Teddy Henson, as he always said to many of the people he helped to inspire to get into politics, into great things, what have you done for Camden today? And we're asking you that same thing. What have you done for Camden today? Until we see you again, thank you, and as always, God bless.